The world is quietly turning back to gold. Central banks are acting as if they know something is coming. No one is speaking out, but everyone is hoarding gold. This isn't just an investment, it's a silent preparation for the coming storm. The fading dominance of the US dollar. For decades, the US dollar was the bedrock of global trade. It was seen not just as a currency, but as a symbol of economic order and stability. But in recent years, that foundation has begun to show cracks. The turning point came in the aftermath of the Russia-Ukraine war. In response to geopolitical tensions, the United States used financial tools as weapons, imposing sanctions, freezing reserves, and excluding nations from the SWIFT international payment system. This sent a loud and clear message to the rest of the world. If you cross the US, your dollar-based assets are no longer safe. This reality has caused many central banks to reevaluate their reserve strategies. What if we're next? That question has pushed countries to return to something old, something reliable: gold. Gold doesn't rely on trust in another government. It isn't digital, it can't be tracked or frozen. It's physical, sovereign, and universally recognized. The use of the dollar as a geopolitical tool has unintentionally triggered a global reconsideration of monetary safety and independence. China's dual strategy, digital yuan plus gold. Among all nations, China's approach stands out for its strategic depth. It's not just hoarding gold, it's building a parallel financial architecture. At the center of this is the digital yuan. China wants it to be a major player in international trade, but in order for any digital currency to gain global trust, it needs backing something tangible. That's where gold comes in. Beijing may integrate gold into the digital yuan framework, creating a currency with intrinsic value. If successful, this would be a direct challenge to the dollar's dominance in global trade and reserves, and they're not making noise about it. No press conferences, no major declarations, just a silent accumulation of gold, brick by brick, bar by bar, and behind closed doors. They're building what could be the backbone of a new monetary world order. The rise in gold demand, what it means for markets. The consequences of this shift are already visible. As 2025 began, gold prices soared, hitting $2,400 per ounce. Demand from central banks surged, with net purchases hitting record highs. This isn't speculative behavior. Central banks are not looking for quick profits. They are seeking protection against inflation, currency volatility, and geopolitical shocks. But what does this mean for individual investors? There's a key distinction. Central banks think long-term. Short-term price dips don't scare them. Retail investors, on the other hand, are more vulnerable to volatility. Still, one thing is certain: when central banks are buying, it's usually a sign that the smart money sees something coming. Gold as the foundation of a new reserve system. This leads to the big question: could this be the beginning of a new global reserve system based on gold? We are witnessing the rise of a multipolar economic world. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are actively working on alternatives to the dollar-dominated SWIFT system. They're conducting more trade in local currencies, but to support a stable global system, something universally trusted is still required. That something, for many, is gold. Unlike fiat currencies, gold has intrinsic value and no counterparty risk. It transcends borders, ideologies, and even technology. That's why, for centuries, it has been the foundation of empires and the ultimate insurance against collapse. Today, holding gold isn't just about preserving wealth, it's about gaining leverage in the global financial arena. The strategic weaponization of gold. Central banks are playing a long game. Every bar of gold they acquire is a silent statement. We are preparing. They're preparing for a world where economic power is no longer dictated solely by the US Federal Reserve. A world where trade routes shift, alliances evolve, and currencies lose their invincibility. In such a scenario, gold becomes more than a hedge. It becomes a strategic weapon. A country that holds significant gold reserves gains flexibility, credibility, and, most importantly, independence. In a world where financial sanctions can be imposed overnight, gold is the ultimate shield. Economic sovereignty, the new global race. This movement toward gold also represents something deeper: the pursuit of economic sovereignty. We are entering an era where countries are not just protecting their economies from inflation or recession, but from political risk. surveillance, and external control. Gold is now part of this sovereignty toolkit. In the near future, we might see central banks issue gold-backed digital currencies. These would combine the transparency of blockchain with the trust of a tangible asset. It would allow nations to conduct international trade on their own terms, without needing the blessing of Wall Street or Washington. Gold, in this case, becomes the scaffolding upon which new financial systems are built. The silent revolution. What's unfolding isn't a sudden upheaval, it's a quiet revolution. This isn't about headlines or breaking news. This is about signals hidden in data, in trade reports, in the vaults of central banks. And when the next major economic crisis hits, or when the dollar loses its luster, the consequences of this gold accumulation will become clear. By then, it might be too late to react. That's why this video is more than just an analysis. It's a warning, a window into a transition that is already underway. Stay tuned, because what comes next will redefine global finance. And perhaps, just perhaps, the seeds of a new world economy are being quietly planted today.